Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, then welcome. My name is Christina, and on my channel, I cover all things beauty. So if you guys are looking for the best and most honest reviews and how-tos from a consumer's perspective, then make sure to subscribe to my channel, like this video, as well as leave any comments that you have for me down below. In today's video, I am super excited. I have my coffee. I'm pumped because we are going to be doing another wear test on a new foundation, and I'm super excited. This is a powder foundation. So what we are covering today is the Fenty Beauty Pro Filt'r Soft Matte Powder Foundation. Now, I don't necessarily wear only powder foundations all the time, so this is going to be very interesting, especially with my now dry skin. So if you guys are interested in getting all the details, seeing the wear test and my first impressions, then make sure to keep on watching. All right, so let's start off by covering all of the basic facts and information about this foundation. It is available on fentybeauty.com, sephora.com. I'm not exactly sure if it's in stores just yet, but I'm sure they're gonna bring them into Sephora's stores. They're 50 shades, $36 for this powder foundation. And Fenty Beauty is always really great with inclusive shade ranges, and they break it down with cool, neutral, warm, and I believe olive. And then they further break it down into yellow, peach, golden, and they have really amazing graphics on the Fenty Beauty website. Another amazing thing that Fenty has done with this collection, I'm not quite sure if they've done it in the past with other foundations, but their graphics for this one is just so great because they have one specific graphic that I'm thinking of where if you look at a certain shade and you scroll through the photos available for that shade, they will have a photo of someone. So for this foundation, I got it in 260, and in this graphic it shows the 260 shade, and then next to it you have 250 and 270. I love to go back and forth to see what shade might fit me. I'm very terrible at picking my foundation shades. Usually it's just fine, but I just kind of psych myself out about it. So being able to actually see it all in one place is really helpful. This foundation claims to have a light as air feel and full coverage. It's supposed to be non-cakey, it's vegan, and it's humidity, sweat, and crease proof. It also says it won't settle in fine lines or clog pores. I'm very curious about the fine lines one because especially under my eyes, I tend to have product in general just go into my under eyes. So I'm curious to see how that's gonna work out. So looking at the actual unit, it's right here. Very beautiful packaging. As we all know, Fenty Beauty just kills the packaging. The geometric shapes are literally everything. You have this shade right here on the back, and then when you open it up, you have the powder foundation, a mirror, and then once you open this little gold flap, you have the sponge applicator. Online, they do suggest that you use the sponge applicator for full coverage, and then if you want something less full coverage, then use a brush, and depending on the density of the brush, it will depend on the coverage. So if you use something less dense, it's gonna give you a lighter coverage, and if you use something more dense, like a dense kabuki, then it'll give you something a little closer to full coverage. So pick your poison, whatever is your favorite way to wear it. Feel free to do that. They do have brushes available that you can purchase and that they recommend for this foundation, but if you already have something similar, I would just say use that. It is actually New Year's Eve, so Happy New Year by the time you guys see this video. Hopefully 2021 brings you guys a lot of opportunities and lots of health. I plan to do a wear test. I'm gonna probably do just like a standard day, so 8 to 10 hours or something. I don't plan to wear this for up until midnight because it's like, what time is it? It's 10:30 in the morning right now, so I don't necessarily think that is a reasonable or realistic goal because this foundation doesn't actually claim to be long wearing. So I'm just gonna test it out and give you guys some check-ins throughout the day. So I've already moisturized my skin. I used the e.l.f. Holy Hydration moisturizer, and I have my Super Goop sunscreen on top, and then I also primed my dry areas with this Ulla Henriksen Banana Bright Face Primer. To begin this process, I'm gonna go ahead and do all my liquids and creams and then set all that down with the powder foundation. It doesn't tell you exactly what process to put all of the makeup on, but from past experience, I've learned that liquids and creams work a lot better underneath powder. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that today. I also purchased this mirror, which I'm so excited about. I've wanted it for over a year, and I never wanted to get it, but I finally bought it. It's just the cutest thing, and I'm excited to have it. To conceal, of course, I'm using my e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer in medium beige. I'm just going in and concealing under my eyes and any darkness that I have on my skin. Now I'm going to go in with a cream bronzer. This is the Fenty Beauty Cream Bronzer in Macchiato. I do tend to feel like this is pretty light for my skin. It might not be too light right now since I am a little more pale than I normally am. So I'm going to go in, and I have this Fenty face brush, the number 125. It's just like an angled brush. I've used this in past videos and I do enjoy it. So I'm going to go ahead and start to contour, give myself a little bit of definition in my face before we do the powder. I am going to be a little more heavy-handed with the creams that I put under this foundation because my thought process is that it's going to be full coverage, so it might cover up a good chunk of like the creams that I put under. So I want to make sure that it's still visible because I don't necessarily want to go on top of the powder with more cream. You know, like I don't want to have to reapply and then risk the integrity of the powder. This shade is looking pretty good on my skin right now. I haven't worn it in a couple of weeks, so I've definitely lightened up. Next, I have this Fenty Beauty Cream Cheeks Out Cream Blush in the shade Daiquiri Dip. It's the only one that I own, I think, and it's this bright orangey red. It is an intense color, but I figured since we're doing a Fenty review, I might as well use a Fenty cheek product. So I'm just gonna go in with my finger. That is super bright. And I'm gonna apply it to the cheeks. Oh, you know what? That shears out really nicely. It's not scary. Just gonna keep dabbing it in with my fingers. And it does look pretty intense right now, but I think I'm just gonna leave it at that intensity because like I said, I feel like the powder foundation is going to blend all of this together. That actually feels really nice on the cheeks. It isn't as slippy as other cream blushes that I've tried. Like it definitely has some pull to it. You have to kind of push down and apply more than you would with like, I don't know, like the Rare Beauty one, because that one's more serum-y. But this actually is nice because I feel like people with oily skin could really take advantage of that texture and it won't slide everywhere throughout the day. I'm a little hesitant to take this powder foundation underneath my eyes because I don't know, I don't usually take foundation all the way under my eyes. So we'll just see how that goes. I'm actually going to apply with the sponge applicator first. It feels like just your standard sponge applicator. So I'm going to go in and take some product. Using this here. It might be too light for me. Maybe. Then I'm going to apply. It looks a little dark, but my face is lighter than my body, so this might actually work out pretty well. See, the thing with sponge applicators, I feel like I use so much product or it just gets stuck on the sponge. And I'm going into pushing and pulling movement. It's a little gray on my skin. I got the neutral because I tend to be neutral in other foundations. That doesn't look bad. I'm just gonna tap a little on top of the blush. All right, so in my opinion, from my very first impression, it looks good. Other than the color, which I think is pulling a little gray on me right now, the coverage itself is nice. It still looks like my skin, but it has mattified. You can see up here especially, there's not much shine here anymore compared to right here where it's very shiny and reflective. I still see a sheen on my cheek, which is nice. It hasn't completely, you know, removed that. I do feel like I can see the foundation right here, so I'm just gonna take that sponge and try to work it out. That sponge applicator, not bad. I mean, it looks like pretty even coverage. And I can see right here where the foundation ends, like you can see the shade. But it looks good. It's not, I mean, powder foundations themselves kind of scare me, so I was a little scared, but it looks pretty good. So for this side of my face, I'm going to take a brush, and I have this e.l.f. Kabuki brush. It is pretty dense. I don't think it's as dense as the one that they advertise on their site, but I think it'll give me a pretty similar coverage. So I'm going to go in with a brush on this side just to see the different coverage and finish that I might get. And I'm going in with a buffing motion because I feel like usually with powder foundations, that's the best way to go with a brush. I don't really like putting powder on the tip of my nose. I tend to get dryness right at the bottom and then right on top. But the shade doesn't perfectly match my face, so it would be really obvious if I didn't put it on there. But so far, it's looking okay. I'm just tapping it more than swiping it under the eyes because I'm a little afraid. All right, so comparing the sides of the skin, I actually feel like this side looks a little more luminous. It gives me a little bit more of a sheen versus this side. It's not a huge difference, but I feel like I buffed more product on this side with the brush because I was more familiar and I wasn't as scared, I guess. The application looks pretty similar. You already get the sponge applicator when you buy the foundation, so you have options. Both of them look pretty flawless. I don't see one is doing better than the other. I will say around this area of my face, I feel like I can see it more clinging over here on the sponge applicator side versus right here. Just a small difference, but again, I don't typically work with sponges, so it might just be a learning curve. Nothing too serious in my opinion. It actually looks really nice. I still have a good sheen on my forehead. Looking down here, it does look like it's clinging just a little bit to my dry patches. To be honest, I've just been having a rough time with this area, but it doesn't look bad from far away. You can't even tell, and up close, you can barely tell. I'm just really looking at it. Okay, so that's the complexion. I'm gonna go ahead and finish the rest of my face, and I'll let you guys know how it's sitting after that. All right, guys, I am done with my makeup. I'll link in the description everything I used. On my lips, I put MAC Boldly Bare lip liner topped with the Fenty Beauty Gloss Bomb Cream and Honey Waffles. Love this gloss so much. If you guys want full swatches on the entire collection, I will link that in the description below for you. I have that video already. Overall, guys, I'm really impressed with the finish of this foundation. My skin still looks very natural. It does have a very soft matte. I wouldn't even consider this a matte finish, at least the way that I applied it. I feel like it gives you a good natural sheen. My skin just looks really healthy. I think the products laid really well underneath as well as on top of this foundation. Let's look at this dry spot. I mean, you can't really tell. The texture is going to be there, so if you're gonna put a powder on top, you're gonna see a little bit of texture, but what I'm gonna be focusing on is if it wears off and if it accentuates that texture anymore. When I look at my skin in general, it looks really good, and how regular liquid foundations sit on my skin, this is sitting just as well. It's not cakey. My forehead lines are not being accentuated or anything. I think it looks great. So the shade match for me, I would say it's a little off. Like, I feel like it's a little gray on my skin tone. We'll see how I feel as I look at it in the mirror and stuff throughout the day. The face itself looks great. The shade match, maybe there's a better shade for me, maybe not, we'll see. So it's about 11 a.m. right now. I'm just gonna wear this throughout the day. I have a couple things to do around the house, and then I have to prep some food for dinner tonight for New Year's Eve, and then I will check in with you guys as time goes on, give you guys a few check-ins, and then I'll let you know my full thoughts at the end. All right, guys, here for my first check-in. It is around 2:30 right now, so it's been 3.5 hours since I applied the foundation. I've been checking in a little bit on my skin. Since then, I've just been home. I cut my boyfriend's hair because y'all know quarantine, and it is exhausting. So I was a little little stressed, and I kept rubbing my nose, so I have a little bit of fading right there, but overall this foundation looks really, really good. As you can see, a lot of my natural oils have started to seep through. However, it hasn't broken up the foundation at all. If anything, it's given my face more of a natural look. I mean, I'm definitely a little shiny right here, which can tend to happen. Like I said, I do have more of a dry skin type right now, and I do have dry areas. However, I do have some oils whenever I'm wearing certain types of makeup. So I notice when I wear foundations versus just bare-faced all day, I do tend to have oils that come through, but this actually looks super nice and shiny, or healthy, sorry. I can live with this. I actually really like this finish. I can definitely tell though in a couple more hours, if it continues to progress like this, it's going to be very shiny. So I might actually have to blot, which is weird. I haven't had to do that in a while. Or since this is a powder foundation, I can just go in with the same sponge applicator and just blot with that, and it'll give me that extra coverage. Wow, my hair is so frizzy right now. I'm sorry, and it's just a mess. I'm just chilling today. But in person, I can't explain to you how healthy it looks. It doesn't even look like I'm wearing foundation. Like, it just looks like I have a really, really good skincare routine. The shade looks a lot better. I don't know if it had changed and warmed up to my face, or if I've just warmed up to the shade, but overall it's looking really, really, really nice. I'm loving it. I'll try to give you some close-up so you can see. No breaking up of the foundation as of now. We will see. It's not even breaking up here at my nose, which is really interesting. So that's how it's looking right now at the 3.5 hour mark. I'm very tempted to actually go back in with the powder and just blot some of that excess shine, because I want to see how it's going to do on top of oils. However, I think I'm going to wait a couple more hours. I am going to be going over to my sister's house, so I will check in before I do that so I can let you guys know. I might touch it up at that point, but we'll see. So far, I'm really liking it. I think it looks amazing on this skin, and I'm super impressed that it's really stayed put. So that's my check-in for this time, and I will be back for the next one. Okay, next check-in. The sun is like slowly going down. I'm sorry, the lighting is like really off right now, but it has been 2 more hours since my last check-in. It's 4:30 right now, and I wanted to show you guys my skin is looking fairly oily, to the point where I definitely know that at the 8-hour, 9-hour mark, it's gonna be like extremely oily. Kind of odd because, like I said, I'm not used to my skin getting super oily anymore. I definitely do set all of my liquid foundations though with a powder. So it might just be because I have this one layer of powder that's also acting as foundation. That might be it. I don't know. I'm not too mad at it though. It makes sense. I still think that the foundation itself is holding its integrity. I'm not having any breaking up here, even though my oils are coming through. Down here, still looks exactly the same in my opinion. So what I think I'm gonna do in order to keep my like mascara from running and getting too oily, I'm gonna go ahead and touch it up. I'm gonna use the sponge applicator in the compact because I feel like if I go over it with a brush, it's just gonna start moving everything around and getting pretty bad. So what I'm gonna do is just take the sponge applicator as is. This isn't any extra powder. I'm just gonna go ahead and press it. That actually immediately made a difference. Did you guys see that? So right here, I'm gonna press some. You can kind of see right away that it's eliminating that oil. Now I know like that just means that the sponge is taking in the oil. I don't know how hygienic that is. It probably isn't hygienic at all. I also have never actually washed these. I don't know if you can wash them. If you guys know, let me know in the comments down below. I'd like to keep using this because this powder compact in general would be nice to take on the go. But I'm not adding any more coverage. I like the coverage that I have currently. So I'm really just trying to eliminate the excess oil, and then I might go in with a little bit of powder. All right, that pretty much looks brand new. I didn't add any powder to that except for what was on the sponge. Really, I just soaked in the oil that was forming. I think what I'll do is add just a little bit more, like just a little dab, and wherever I feel like it needs a little extra coverage, I'll go ahead and do that. All right, I turned the brightness down just like a few stops. All right, this is the skin touched up. Gosh, it is so bright right now. I'm so sorry. Skin looks brand new. I think it looks great. I think it layered really, really nicely on top of itself. I don't think I look any more cakey than I did at the beginning. I definitely did add a little bit more coverage, like around this area, but I'm okay with that because if my oils start to come through again, it's just gonna kind of melt itself back in. I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to be doing another check-in. If I do, I'll just be doing it through my phone. But overall, I am loving this powder foundation. I think it looks amazing on the skin, super airbrushed and flawless. I think it's super easy to use. It's so finely milled. It feels like butter. It is definitely lightweight. I don't feel any heavy cakiness on my skin. Hello friends, I wanted to do another check-in. It is right before 8 o'clock at night, and my skin, since touching up, is looking pretty fabulous. Not my hair. My hair is not looking fab, but my skin is looking really, really good. I'm not seeing any dry spots. I looked in the mirror before this. I'm not breaking up right in here. I mean, I am oily, but like I said, this amount of oil looks good in my opinion. I think that it looks natural and it's not overpowering. I think it's holding up. The integrity of this powder is just amazing. I think if I were to build up the coverage even more, it would still do really well. But overall, I still think that this foundation is amazing. I love it. I'm gonna continue wearing it. Oh my gosh, my hair is distracting me. I'm going to continue to wear it, and I 100% recommend this to everyone. So that's all. That's it. Okay, I've turned my camera. I'm trying to hide from the sun right now. That's my full review, my first impression. If anything changes, I will make sure to update the description box down below. So make sure you check that for any updates. I really like it. I would recommend it. For $36, I think that's pretty standard for Fenty Beauty. I love their complexion products. I mean, it definitely depends. You know, they have one specifically for oily skin and they have a foundation for dry skin. I feel like this is an amazing in-between. And if you want that full coverage, you can use those liquid foundations and then top it with this powder foundation. I really enjoy it. I am happy that I made this purchase. I will probably be adding this to my arsenal of makeup products that I can just throw on and go. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you have already made your Fenty Beauty order, or if this video actually helped you decide if you're gonna make that order and buy this foundation. Like I said, it gets my thumbs up. I approve of this foundation. It's really great. I was kind of like raving about it earlier to my boyfriend, and he said it looks really great on my skin. So happy about that. Let me know down below if you guys have any questions for me, or if I missed anything. I would be more than happy to answer your questions. If you found this video helpful and liked it, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos like this one, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!